there are 4 little lines of music on this page. The first one, where the words say Silent Night, Holy Night, to play that, notice that there is a quarter note tied to a single eighth note. That means 1 count plus half count, otherwise known as 1 1/2 counts. And so playing while counting is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. The F at the beginning of this tiny little song, there's a quarter note tied to an eighth note, so it lasts for 1 and 2. That doesn't mean it lasts for 2 counts. It lasts for 1 count, 1 complete count, plus the first half of count 2. The second half of count 2 is that single G eighth note that's right after the F. 1 and 2 and 3 and. The line right below it does need you to do something to it. The quarter notes, some of the quarter notes need dots. So if you look above at the song that I just played, wherever you see a quarter note tied to a single eighth note, directly below it in the second line, that's where you'll put a dot on the side of the quarter note. Now that makes that quarter note a dotted quarter note, which lasts for 1 1/2 counts. Just like above we had 1 1/2 counts because it was a quarter tied to an eighth note. So we're going to get the same rhythm, it just looks different how it's printed on the page. So after you've drawn the dots in, then you'll play it like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So these 2 little lines at the top will sound the same once you have those dots after the F quarter notes that are at the beginning of the 2 measures. And again, those dots you'll draw in directly under where the first Silent Night line has a quarter tied to an eighth, because that's just 2 different ways of writing 1 1/2 counts. Now the second half of the page down at the bottom, the first little line that does have words that you could sing to it, sleep my child and peace attend thee all through the night. There's some little dotted lines to fill in ties. So trace those dotted lines so you get ties, and once you have those quarter notes tied to the single eighth note, then the little song goes like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 repeat 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The little song at the very bottom of the page, we're going to make that be the same rhythm as the song that I just played by, number 1, drawing a dot after certain quarter notes, and you'll know where to put the dot by looking straight up where that tie was that you traced. Every time you see a tie in the song that I just finished playing, that's the song where you trace the dotted line to make a tie. Down here at the bottom song, you draw the dot at the side of the quarter note. So there'll be one in this measure, this measure, this measure, right directly below those little ties. Then another thing that needs to be done is the note that comes directly after where you drew the dot on a quarter note, you need to make that note into a single eighth note. And you do that by drawing that curvy flag. Just like up in this Silent Night song, we had a single eighth note with its curvy flag hanging from the stem. You will do that down here. And you will know to do it because it comes directly after a dotted quarter note. Once you have that drawn in, you'll have the exact same rhythm. Looks different printed on the page, but it's counted out the same way, like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, excuse me, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and repeat 1 and 2